Okay, so now we're recording, and I'm going to go ahead and just start from the beginning. So you guys see my mouse moving right now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So what we're doing is we're going to go into
Yes.
making designs with satin stitch tools. So we're going to do it a couple different ways. The first way is we're going to understand like how to control the satin stitching, what the settings are, and that type of thing. Okay. The next thing that we're going to work on after this is going to be creating our satin and working with those input tools because we're heading towards fur. And in order to do good fur, you really have to have a good command of those tools and the settings. So, the next few series is going to be about getting our punching skills up and understanding how these tools work and what their limits are. Okay. So, what we're going to start with is an image. In the other webinars, in the other softwares we've had to convert these two images literally because um, they don't handle fonts the same way that Generations does. So for the first one, we're going to do the mermaid as a font. The second one, on the next webinar, we're going to do the merman with manual punching. Okay. So, and just so you guys know what the schedule's going to be, okay? If you go to the website now, we have our schedule posted online. And you can see, here's our schedule. We're going to start up with Generation Saturdays again on the 9th. And, here's the one we kind of, here's our next one, I believe. Yeah, on the 19th. Okay. But, so it'll give you kind of the list of when all of our webinars are going to take place.
Are the prior ones posted there now?
They will be as soon as they upload the pages, which they ran into a server compatibility issue. So, but they are working on them, and we expect them to be up by next week.
So we'll be able to know which is the first, second, third, etc., and start from the beginning.
Yeah, there'll be a menu. It'll
Okay.
say, this week, this week, this week, this week, this week, and you'll be able to go in and click on those links and download the original video,
Okay.
as well as watch it in a smaller version online.
Okay.
Yahoo!
And
I agree.
yeah, and you guys will have, there's that access doesn't run out when your membership runs out. You guys will just have access to that until, whenever.
Okay.
So you can go review those anytime you want. And it'll be a login system, so the only people who can see them are the people who are actually in the webinars.
Can we download them to our own computers?
Yes, you can.
Good.
And that's so you're able to do that too. But check the schedule here, and this is a schedule that we're going to stick to. And if you notice, I'm going to kind of go all the way over to the last one. We're going into, I think, the beginning of December. Yeah, up to like the middle of December. Okay. So, and if we don't finish everything up that was kind of in the itinerary, we'll go into January a little bit too.
Okay.
And that's so just so you kind of have an idea of the schedule. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and go back over to this browser and open up my Generations thing, and we're recording. So here is my screen, and we're going to start with the font, and I'm going to send you a link, but you can do a search. It's called Sea Life by Sassy. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and just insert text. And I've already gotten the Sea Life by Sassy is a capitals only font, and it's a wingding font. Not all wingding fonts are really usable, but this one's pretty good. And you can see if you've been on the Generation site, there's the turtle I did like 10 years ago, right? So this font's great. I've made this, I selected the letter I. The mermaid is the letter I. And, I've made this as big as possible. Okay. She's at 200. And, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of change the color now because that color is very difficult to see. I am going to leave, her as is and just throw her into the program right now. So we're going to go ahead and say, there you go, and generate her. So there she is, and she's a wreck, a total wreck. But one of the neat things about the program is that I can come in here and I can pick things out individually and, change them, change colors, change fill types, do whatever I want. I can't do that in other programs. So I can actually take a font like her or this whole font and turn it into a nice embroidery design. And what we were working on was, and this is going to be a matter of personal preference. Which pieces do you want to get rid of? To me, I don't need this piece. To me, I don't need it. I know they're trying to make a circle, but I don't really care if it's a circle. So I'm going to select that piece, and I'm going to hold the control key, and I'm going to select this piece too, because I don't care if it's there. And this piece right here. And there's this little piece in here that is really not going to enhance anything. So I'm going to select that, and I'm just going to get rid of it. And, they're all flashing, so I can press Control, Delete, and they're gone, right? This piece, and it depends on your computer. See, I am not able to select that piece, right? And it's because it does something a little bit funky here, and we're going to work with that later. But in the meantime, I have to decide, what am I going to do with this mermaid? And I want to make her colorful. So I'm going to select the pieces that I can pick out real quick with my eye, like her hair. Like this piece is her hair. Hold the control key, right-click on each individual piece. And, you'll see the flashing outlines, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just keep, right-clicking on them. If you miss one, no big deal. You can go grab it again. And we're just going to select the pieces that we view as her hair. And this piece I view as hair. Not everybody does, but I view it as hair. And the same with that piece. So I've got most of them picked out, if not all of them. And I've decided she's going to have reddish hair. So, I'm just going to kind of scroll and find an orange somewhere. Okay, so there's her hair. I missed a couple of pieces. No big deal. Just go right-click on them, hold the control key, and then right-click on the color chip to change them. Now, to sort these all very, very quickly, I'm going to double left-click on the color chip, one of those orange color chips. And you can see everything gets selected, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to right-click on one of the shaded blocks and move it up to the top. So now it's all sorted. Those are all moved into position, right?
Right.
Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing for the other pieces. Like this is her skin. So I'm just going to right-click, hold the control key, and just keep kind of clicking through the pieces that I view as her skin. And, give her a pink color. I don't even have to double click. They're already selected. I can just move them to the top. Okay, so now we're starting to get her pretty sorted. The next pieces are these little starfishes. We'll make them gold. And you're just going to kind of continue to do that. We're just going to move things around because we can always reorder things as we go. Here's her tail pieces. And let me find some interesting color for her. At this point, you can make them really any color you want because you can always change them. But, the easiest thing to do is separate these out by color.
Aqua or green?
Yeah, I'm thinking lime green looks good.
Try aqua or green.
Yeah, can you see her green now? Her tail's all green?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me move these pieces up to the top now. Okay, so now that leaves us with the blue pieces for the water, and, we can, just leave those as they are. Everything's kind of sorted out right now. The next thing I'm going to think about is, what do I want to stitch first? And, what's logically the best thing to stitch first? What's going to hide the most amount of jump stitches for me? That type of thing, right? And if I look at this, probably her hair would go first because I'll have little jumps in between here, but that's not a big deal. What I want to do is, I'll have a jump here because they're not really connected, but if I'm really, I can really put my own travel stitches in and run them through here and down to here, because those little tiny jumps, I'm not going to trim anyway, right? They're just too small to even bother with. And the only one who notices those are going to be you or me. Nobody else really cares if they're there. So, I'm going to do her hair first. So, everything can stay as is. We're going to use a tool in the program and go up and we're going to reorder things. Okay, we're going to set the stitching order. And I can set the stitching order in sections, or I can set the stitching order for the entire design. And at this point, I'm just going to do her hair. So I have to think about where do I want her hair to start and how do I want to control this. And I'm probably going to go like this. 1, 2, right? And I just left click on these. Here's 3. And logically, you know, I'm going to combine these pieces at some point. So logically, I'm going to go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then I've got to look at what's going on in here. And I would probably start combining some of these pieces as I, go along. But right now I'm just going to go kind of like this. And I'll end up combining that piece. So for right now, I'm just going to go there. And then I can go back to here. And I might want to actually backspace out of that. Okay, so I've got to 9. Yeah, I guess I'm going to kind of go ahead and go like this. But I know that I'm going to start combining pieces. I know that. So, I've got this little odd piece that I'm probably going to get rid of. But I've got to, I'll have to adjust a little bit here. And let me back up. Sometimes, we'll go like this. Because I can kind of get around that somewhat. We'll go here, here, here. And then I'll combine those pieces. That piece I'm going to ignore because I want to get rid of it. Okay, so there's my stitching order. And they've all moved to the top except for that one little piece right here that I want to get rid of. Whoops, sorry. Right there that I want to get rid of. Okay, so I've missed this piece in my order, but I can move it up to this piece right here. That's number 1. Oh, sorry, not number 1. Let me stretch this out. Sometimes my mouse does not behave as it should when I'm recording. Okay, so there we go. We know that, this piece right here is number 13, right? This is the piece I missed. Right here. So I'm just going to, right click, move to 13. Does that make sense what I did?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let me kind of squish this back down. Okay, so now I've got them in an order, and remember I said I was going to start combining some things, right? These pieces up here, those pieces don't need to be separate. This can become one piece, but we'll worry about that on the next lesson. Right now, we just want to get into an order, right? But now I've got everything kind of ordered or deleted. I'm going to select her hair. I'm going to go into my stitch settings. She's going to remain satin because I get the most flow and the most interest in a design whenever I use satin stitching, right? But her hair is obviously too wide to create a very good satin. So I'm going to go ahead and go over to satin, enable a fill. And I'm going to go ahead and look at the patterns I already have. And, you can try these out. Like, what would this do with her hair? What would this one do to the hair? Give a couple of these a try out and just apply them and see if you like them. If you don't like how that looks, what you can do is, you can go into this and you can make your own adjustments. Like maybe you could just move these over and center them, okay? And the easiest way to do that just be 50 and just keep going down. You could actually get rid of most of these, but, so we're going to go ahead and we'll save this. Okay, so there's our center split. And what this is going to do is it's going to determine how her hair is going to look based on the stitch length, the max step here, and then on the basic tab, right? So I'm going to leave these alone for right now and just say okay. So, there's her hair. I can increase that if I want to, but I've got a little more flow to the hair now, right? You guys all see this okay?
Yeah.
Okay, the next thing I'm going to work on is her body. Here's her face. There's the neck. There's an arm. Here's the back piece. Here's the other arm. I'm just going to drag, the arm up here, because I can always create the run stitch down, right? Or I could drag it back down and do, the arm. Here's the first arm, here's the second arm, this body part if I want, and try to come back around. So you have to kind of think about, how do you want her body to stitch, right?
Right.
This part's very logical. This would be really the next logical part to move that up. And then move this up and do that arm last. Okay, do you guys see what order I set? Face, neck, arm one, back, the front part, and then the last arm. So I'm going to have one little jump, basically, from here to here, right? And that's okay. I could kind of, try to do it another way, but either way, I've got this little jump I'm going to deal with, and it's not that big of a deal. But her body parts
Bernadette,
don't,
doesn't it make more sense to do the left arm first, since that would be the arm behind,
if you see, like, they're not really touching anything.
right?
And what I was looking at is the logical, if I did the arm, this arm, right?
Right, correct.
And then came up and did the body,
Yeah,
and then did the back,
yeah.
and this, and then the neck and the head, I could do it that way.
Uh-huh.
But for her, it doesn't really matter because nothing's touching.
Okay.
So if they were touching, I would do it that way. I would do this absolutely first, because
Okay.
then the body would be over top. And then this piece, and then this. Actually, I might go up to the neck and take the jump to the face. But if they were all touching,
Okay.
but they're not, so I have a little more leeway, and it's a little more forgiving, to play with.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just click on that flesh-colored chip. I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to turn it into a complex fill, because I don't care about a lot of flow with this body. Okay, I really don't care. I just want to do, this is not the focal point of the design. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to take the quick and easy route and just say, okay, we're going to make it complex. And at that point, I'm just going to deal with, what fill direction I want these to be in. And those are all looking like they're in the right direction, but they're looking a little goofy. And I'm going to kind of look at, I don't know, if somebody moving dishes around.
Not I.
Yeah, there's a lot of background noise, like dishes are clacking.
I heard that. Not here.
Okay, so, all right, so I'm going to go ahead and just adjust this and regenerate. And we're going to do something that we're going to double check on in the program. First off, I'm going to look at what this pattern is, because it's not really a very nice looking pattern. And, probably pick a pattern that maybe is a little smoother. I'm not sure why that one's not behaving, but it looks awful on the screen. Okay, so we'll go ahead and say yeah. Okay, so I've got her flesh parts done. And I'm assuming that the display on the screen is really not accurate, since it looks really terrible. But, that's her body parts. And now what I want to do is move these to stitch in the first position. Well, no, I could leave them in the second position. But I'm going to drag them up right below. Just grab that color chip and drag and drop it below the orange. Okay.
Okay.
But we're going to do something. As you know, every once in a while, like, you hit those in and out points and you accidentally move them. We're going to go ahead and left click on the orange, left click on the flesh, right click on the shaded things and go to properties and remove any of these defined points. Right now we don't want anything in there. Okay, so we've got our mermaid kind of clipping along here. You know, these stars, you know, you can kind of get fancy with those if you want as we go along. But right now, you know, I'm just going to turn them into complex fill too for right now. And those are just going to be a real quick little grab the complex fill, convert them, and this little piece right here, and this little piece right here, we have to edit. See how that's connected funny? See how that turned gold and that's connected funny?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. We've got another piece down here too. And it has to do with because it's a font. So we have a little bit of editing that we're going to do in a minute as well. But, you know, right now we've got the pieces where we want them pretty much. The next thing I would do would be, you know, probably her tail, right? So, you know, I've got these tail pieces and, you know, what part do you want to do first? I'm going to do that part first, so I'll just move it up there. And the tail can be kind of interesting. Like, this is shading material all over the place, right? But for right now, I just want to get it moved into position and leave it alone. And we're going to look at those blue and the gold pieces that we have to edit. This piece right here, you know, it's actually connected. Let me go out of 3D so I can show you how it's connected. I'm going to turn off these. It looks like it's just connected with a line, but what happens on fonts is this. They're going to do this in ink. So that is actually a vector line that's been left in the image. It might be white, it might be clear, you know, on a print, but, you know, the program picks it up because it's actually there. So we're going to edit this. So to edit this, I'm just going to select this piece. And you'll notice something, like, let me zoom back out. You'll notice, like, when I went to select over here, I couldn't do it. I have to select on this piece. And let me zoom on the star. Yeah, it will not let me select this piece.
All right.
And it has to do with this vector line is crossing. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go into editing, and I'm going to have to chop this off, even though it looks like it's not there, right?
Okay.
So I just go into editing and say, let's go ahead and divide it with a line. And I can always reshape this star. So I am literally going to chop the end off. But I have to come over here if I want to save this piece and chop the end off of here too. And if it won't let you do it, just move up and see if it'll let you do it. And if not, we're going to go ahead and redo this piece. Okay, so now what I've got is here's that piece, right? And it's letting me select it now, which is a good thing. But it still has some issues, even though I can't see them. So now that it's generated and separated, you know, let's go ahead and try to chop off that edge again. And the only place I guess it's going to let me select it's up there. And over here. Okay, divide with the line. You know, if it won't let you do it, we're going to recreate this whole thing. I don't know if it'll let me just do it here or not. Nope. Okay, so what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to, at some point, recreate this piece. And, you know, that's just one of the things with fonts. It's just the way it is. You know, there's this funny little piece, and I'm going to leave it for right now, but I am going to change its color so that we know not to get rid of it until we reproduce it. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Bernadette, is there a way to make your screen bigger? I'm afraid to click on anything because I don't want to end up out of the webinar.
Can you guys, does it not take up your whole screen?
No.
Huh, okay.
I have all kinds of bars on the top, including like an inch that says blue
I
jeans.
finally messed around till I got mine.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
can you like collapse those menus on the top?
I don't know how. And I'm afraid to hit the X because I think I'm going to lose you. There's a box on the bottom, below the right-hand bottom corner, but I don't know what that box is. It's something that has to do with the webinar, but I'm afraid to push it.
Right at the. Can I say
Okay.
something?
Yeah.
I got mine big. If you go right over where your time is on the bottom right-hand side, there's a box with two arrows diagonally. That will give you full screen.
There's a box.
Okay.
What?
Over by where the time is on the right lower corner.
Okay, I got. Well, no. Okay,
Yes.
I still have the blue jeans thing taking up all
And
the room.
it's got an arrow going to the top. It's arrow
Oh,
going
there
to the
it
top
came up.
right-hand side and the
Okay,
bottom
I got
left-hand side.
Now I have another screen
And
underneath
it
it, a
says
square.
full screen.
I have a screen underneath it now, a square in the center that's. It looked like it had whoever's talking in it now. I'm gonna try this again. I don't know.
Yeah, so you
See
guys
if you
have
can
different
click off
controls
that.
than I do. But what Fran was saying was that down here, or Janet, or I think it was Janet or Fran maybe, down here in the corner of your screen, you should have like a little arrow, is what she was saying, that would let you expand it to full screen.
Yeah.
When I
You
do
may
that,
have to go down.
I get a square
You may
underneath.
have to go down in a white and red.
What color is
Mine
it,
doesn't
Fran?
have that.
I'm
Yeah,
getting a
Mine doesn't have that.
center below the screen capture that shows who's talking, and I don't know how to get rid of that now because that's taking up this. I don't know. Should've left
Okay, I'll have to play. Yeah, see, I'll have to go and log in on a screen. Oh no, that's okay. To separate, what's what, but it should be full screen because it's actually, I mean, it's showing full screen on mine,
Okay.
and so it's got to be a control in there. But I'll play with that this weekend and see, and because we're just kind of testing to see if this one's better than WebEx at this point, and seeing what WebEx will come back with
Bernadette.
on that support ticket.
The I don't know what to say. My screen is terrible.
Your
I mean,
screen's
I can get
terrible.
it to big screen, but the pixels or whatever, it's terrible. I can barely make out the numbers over in your stitch order, and
Okay.
if I didn't know what some of the other stuff was around the screen, but I mean, it's not near as good as what we've been getting on that other thing. It's what
On
I'm saying.
WebEx.
Now I don't have
Okay.
a video come out.
Yeah, that's it. I figure
I'm
we'll
just
probably.
making a comment.
That's good to know because at this point WebEx just really was not working today, and so I'm
Yeah.
gonna wait and see what their support says. But worst case, we'll do this over, and which is okay. We can do this over.
Don't worry about it. I just wanted to make a comment.
Yeah, and we'll see what the video comes out like too, because I'm wondering as well. This one was supposed to be, it came highly rated, and I kind of ignored it because it's over the internet type of thing. It's a little different than WebEx, so I kind of ignored it a little bit because it made me nervous. But so we'll see how this goes. And at worst case, I'll just go back to GoToMeeting. But we had more problems with GoToMeeting originally than we did with WebEx, which is why we changed. So, all
Can
right.
I say one more thing?
Uh-huh.
Are you gonna post a link to this font you using?
Yes.
Is it a free font or a bought font?
Nope, it's a free font.
Okay.
So I'm going to send you to the website to
You gonna
download
post a
it.
link to us?
Yeah, because I can't send it to you, so I'm going to send you
Okay,
to the
that's fine. Thank you.
website to download it. So, okay, so now what we've got
I know
is,
that. I wanted a link.
yeah, no problem. Okay, so now what we've got is we've got her color sorted, right? And we've selected a couple of different things, and now we're just kind of down to setting the stitch patterns and cleaning up. And we've got this funny little piece right here as well, remember? This one's a little easier because we don't care if that piece hangs out. So this one's easy. We're just going to go into Edit. Right-click on the piece that, you can click on, which is going to be this wave. And we're just going to divide it with a line, and we're just going to chop right on the edge here. And, we can reshape, so we're not worried. And we're just going to slice that apart. Press Escape. And then you can come in here and try to get that little piece and just hold Control and Delete. And there we go. We've got this all done. So now she's kind of color sorted. And at this point, we're going to set the stitching order for the blue at some point. I've got these little funny things down here. Like if you look, this guy's separated because of the wave. And I'm going to go ahead and pull that wave down here and just, I'm going to turn it some really odd colors so we know what it is. All right, so, this is kind of the basis of where we're starting with the font. And the reason I wanted to show you it as a font is this. You can take these fonts into like WordPerfect, right? And do a screen capture, or if you guys have, any type of graphics program, you can turn it into a piece of artwork instead. Okay, so you can do this a couple of different ways. You can use the font, and you can do it this way, where you're separating everything out, and you're sorting it through, and the program's going to allow you to do that. Or you can convert it into a graphic.
What's the benefit of each?
The font is, boom, there you go, you got it, right?
Okay.
And then it's just cleaning it up and changing it around. But sometimes you can see you get those little funny pieces, right?
Okay.
The other advantage, if you have the ability to turn it into a graphic, is you can, let me go ahead and take off my little terry toweling here. You can just insert this as an image. And let me get over to where my images are of these. I believe they're in there. You can turn them into images, right? She's going to come in as simple artwork. You can bring it in as a template. And I'm going to leave her at that size, right? Or you could bring her in as simple artwork and create everything. But here, I can just come in here and, start picking these sections, right? And have a little more control.
So doing it this way, now this is artwork, right?
This is artwork. She's been converted from a font into artwork by just doing a screenshot out of WordPerfect.
So doing it this way, then you do actions that you had to divide with a line?
Right. This way, if you look, because she was converted, right?
Okay.
Those pieces that we had problems with right here,
Correct.
right here, they're seen as individual things.
Okay.
And you can see I had no problem picking that out. Because once I converted it to, like a little bitmap graphic, right? That vector line from the font is now gone.
Can you now size this to any size you want?
Yep. I could size the letter to any size I want too.
Okay.
So, because the letter, when I do her as a
that?
letter, right? I'm sorry? When I resize her, all I have to do is
save it.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can get, do a screenshot. I'll actually send you guys the images, so you can play with them too. But, it's a good thing to know that if you've got one of those really funky fonts that you'd like to use, but it's got issues, like she had minor issues, right? Some of those other fonts have serious issues. And the reasons are, they're going to print these things. They don't think in terms of if those vector lines are crossed, right? It doesn't matter to them. They can fill it in with white and they can hide that stuff. It doesn't show up in a print. But because of how the program handles, the vector lines of an image, they show up in the program.
So all of this is free artwork?
It's a free font.
Well, that's amazing. That's really, because there's a lot there.
Yeah, there really is. Like, if you look at the whole set, it goes 24 letters.
Huh?
And, it's just a fun little set. Like, have you guys been on the Generation site with the projects and stuff?
Splish Splash?
Fine.
Yeah. Splish Splash came out of here years and years ago.
Wow.
And, he was quick and fun, and it was a font exercise.
Huh.
And, so there's a lot of different things. But when you go on this font site I'm going to send you to get this, you'll find other graphics. And use good judgment, because some of them are obviously copywritten, right? If it's personal use, most people, don't care. If you're going to create designs or, make gifts for 20 people, then it's an issue. But, now you know how to deal with a little bit better these problem fonts, right?
Bernie,
Uh-huh.
have you ever taken a font and while you have it selected the way you have there, ungrouped it?
You can ungroup.
And would that take care of the problems you're having with everything connecting?
No, these problems will remain.
Oh, okay.
And, they will they're just going to remain. It may allow me to select it a little bit better, but the problem with it is literally the vector.
That
Because
vector
see,
line in there.
yeah, I still can't connect this. I still can't right click. I'm trying to right click on that piece. Can't do
Yeah.
it. So it won't correct any vector issues.
Okay.
The only thing it does is ungroup all the pieces for you. And, in the scope of selecting everything, it doesn't really make much difference if it's a font or not a font. You don't want to necessarily ungroup. I'm going to kind of undo, right? Right now, she's one piece. I move,
Right.
her whole body moves, right?
Right.
The minute I ungroup her, if I, accidentally come over here and click on this and move it, it's moved.
Right.
And, and I still have to go through the same process. So, with her, I would just leave her grouped until you're done if you, want to ungroup her.
Okay.
But this is one of, right now, the only program that I can think of that allows you to handle fonts in this fashion.
Can you give us a little more information how you actually take the font and convert it?
Sure. When I go in, what I do is I go into WordPerfect, right? You can see my messy computer here. And
You don't
I
have much on it, do you?
Oh, on my computer, it's a mess. It's a total mess. I have an external hard drive that's full too. So what I do is I come in here and I come into WordPerfect and, I know I have to find the Sea Life font, right? So I'm going to scroll through my fonts. And sometimes some of these fonts give you some issues, right? There she is, Sea Life. Okay. WordPerfect's going to leave it like really small. So I know it has to be big. So I'm coming in here and I'm doing 72 to start with, right?
Right.
And the mermaid is the letter I. There's the mermaid.
Okay.
Okay, now what I can do once I have her, I'm going to select her, just drag and select her. I can come up here and manually enter a size. And, just keep playing with the size so that she actually fits or she's close to the size of what you want, right?
Okay.
Like 800 would be way too big. You won't get the image. 600, you've got her entire image, right?
Right.
And she's pretty good size. Okay, so you can do, file, save, and excuse me, sorry. All you've got are, sorry, words stopped working. Hold on. Yeah, go ahead and recover. All you can do is and say, okay, she's now bitmapped out. Let me close down this program because it's a memory hog. And let's make a new file and create, insert image. And I have to go back to here. And she is floating in here somewhere. I thought I saved her there.
You saw her.
I'm sorry, you just saw her?
Yeah. Where'd she go?
I don't know. She was in another version. I thought I saved her right direct there. Okay, remember I told you I was worried about if it was 16 or 32? You might have to save it as a 16. But she's actually in, I'm just double checking I didn't save her someplace else. She's in this one because I saved her previously. When you go to save, remember I selected a 24-bit map?
Right.
Yeah.
if it's in Paint, you're probably at 16. But because I was in a different graphics program, I saved her as 24. And I think I have to save her as 16 for us to see her. So let me redo her real quick, which will take about 2 seconds.
Are you talking point size?
No, it's a Windows setting. It's a graphic setting. And I'm in Photoshop, so it's kind of giving me the higher settings sometimes. Okay, so there she is. Let me scrunch her up again. And I'm going to leave this bar down here just so I know it's the one I saved, right?
Okay.
Save as. Oh, you know what? She might be there after all, so we'll do this a different way. So I went to the wrong file. Okay. I'm blaming it on antihistamines. That's what I'm blaming it on. Okay, here's a bitmap, right? Mermaid 2. I can't spell right. Yeah, there's an R in there. Okay, so here she is. Remember, there's 16, there's 24-bit. This is what I was talking about. So I'll save her as 16, and we'll go double check, because I think the other one might actually be there. All right, so insert the image. I'm just in the wrong folder. She's going to be in here, I'll bet. There she is. So 24 will work. Okay, here's the 24-bit mermaid. She's opening up, just fine. So she's fine, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to delete her, and we'll try the other one. Which means I go to a different folder.
I wish we could just buy a chip and implant it in our cells. That would have all the
I hear ya. And she came in too, so you can save them as 13 or 16 or 32-bit. Both of them will come into the program just fine. So if you get asked that question, it depends on the program you're using. 16-bit or 32-bit, either or is fine. 32-bit gives you more bits of information, which is good sometimes, and sometimes if it's simple, less information is good, right? So let me go back to the mermaid.
Thank you for
Okay.
going. I appreciate that.
Oh, no, that's okay. I mean, that's, print screen and then being able to, like take one of your photos or something off of your computer, right? You can do that, or you can take a picture, print screen something you want to do and bring it into the program. It's always good to know that.
I never knew that.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, so for homework, and I'm going to see how this video comes out, I'll send you the link to the font, and I'll send you the images. But, if you can capture those images yourself, that's a good way to, practice doing that, right?
Right.
But I'll send you her and send the link to the font. So, play with her and get comfortable with selecting these things, because the next one we're going to do is, see what you can come up with. I can show you, like, in the other webinars, what one of our girls did, and she's in an expressive software package is what it's called, and it's all pretty much manual punch. There's some automation, right? But this is her mermaid.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. And we were playing with different fills and a little bit of shading, which we're going to start next week. We're going to start into how to shade very well, and with and without the gradient fill, because sometimes the gradient fill doesn't do what you want it to do. And so we're going to start playing with the shading.
That's really
And then we're going to move. Yeah, it's a fun little font. Like this is the split satin is what it's called. And we'll play a little more. Like, see, we played with combining, which is the other thing I need to cover real quick before we go. But, we combine things, because what it comes down to is really very simple. Does it or does it not enhance the design, right?
Right.
These three pieces, whether they're separate or together probably enhances the design more, right? These two pieces together enhances the design more. And then this piece. So really what we did and what you guys can play with, and we'll play with this a little bit more next week, is, we looked at this and thought, okay, this is crazy. That piece is just plain crazy, right? So I'm going to zoom in around it, and, we're going to start merging it. And to merge it, you're just going to kind of pull it and try to line it up with the outline. Even if you have a little bend or a little wave somewhere, that's okay. It's hair, right? And, we connected these two pieces. And to do that, you select those two pieces and, go up and outline and merge it. Or right click and merge it, right?
So now it becomes one object and that overlap does not sew out.
Right. And what happens is we might resequence this later, but usually it goes into a good stitching order. So now I don't have this little ditty pieces and less jumps. Like these 3 pieces, there's no reason that those 3 pieces need to be separate. Absolutely none.
Right.
So why not merge these together? These 2 pieces going into this 3rd piece, it's just going to give you a more fluid look. And, and it's the same thing with like these waves are all separate and that's fine. But, the hair, I mean, the fewer jumps you can make and the smoother that embroidery, the better off it's going to be. But what we'll do next week is we're going to play with this again, but we're going to start looking at how do we create it. This is called a split satin, and it's a specific fill, and we don't have the fill necessarily in Generations, but we can do something that mimics it very well. So we're going to play with that, and then we're going to start doing the shading and how to, incorporate like a metallic into a design so that you don't lose your marbles trying to stitch it out, right? And so that's what we're going to do next week. And let me get over to this. And if this didn't record, what I'll do is I'll just record this lesson separate. Okay, and just make a video of it.
Include the part about getting the design into a graphics program.
Yeah, it's being recorded.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, we're still recording, so that's all in the recording. But if this doesn't record well, I'll put that in there as well too.
Thank you.
And but we're gonna start playing with controlling fills and controlling shading. And it's going to get, this might take us 2 or 3 sessions because, the next thing we're moving on to is to start color blending and creating realistic fur. Okay, so that's where kind of all of this is heading. And that is really controlled with satin stitching. So I have a question for you guys before we go. How many of you use the satin tool a lot or just occasionally?
I haven't done anything at all.
I use it.
Okay.
I use it a lot.
Okay, because
I use it a lot.
When we're done with the webinars, you'll find that satin tool is your bestest friend.
Okay,
and one of the reasons.
I agree.
I
love it.
Go ahead. Okay, good. Somebody was asking a question.
No, this is Janet. I was going to say I use it a lot because I love satin stitch.
Yeah, satin stitch is when you start looking at some of the designs that catch your eyes. There's designs you look at and you think, oh, they're cute. And then there's designs you look at and they're just really cute or really elegant or really, they catch your eye more, right?
Right.
And I would bet that if you look at them, most of that is comprised of satin stitching or satin stitching with a fill. And the reason is the whole trick in embroidery is the flow of the stitches. Like I'm going to go back here because we're in 3D view right now and the 3D view looks awful, but this catches your eye because of the sparkle here, right?
Right.
But it catches your eye because the sparkle is actually in a flow as well. Her hair catches your eye because of the flow. Her body is big enough that it's going to catch your eye, but it's not a focal point of this design, right? It's just her body. It doesn't enhance the design over much. It's just something that needs to be there. These waves and the tail and the hair, that's the design, right? So, and that's all done with satin stitching. But, start looking at some of the designs that you really, really like, and I'll bet you'll find that most of them have some satin component that's catching your eye. And by the way, have you guys been to the blog yet?
No.
Oh,
Yes.
our blog is up and running, and we've got some freebies on there. And we're just getting ready to do a challenge. We're posting those videos today on how to
From
do
the
the designs. Yeah, you can go, when you go here, just go to Fun Stuff and it'll say Studio Blog.
Okay.
This is actually our website right now. The blog looks very similar. But we've got Freebie Fridays up there, and we're starting this right here, that little shawl kind of scarf. We are starting today. The videos are going up on how to create designs for that. And we did one in generations, one for artistic, and one for digitizing. And, we're also going to give those designs away next week because we start the project sewing portion of it. So, and were you guys in the last generations webinar and I told you I'd give you an update on things?
I haven't
Yes.
been here for almost 2 months. My mother
Yes.
came home on hospice and just passed away. So I'm starting all the way
Oh,
from the beginning.
oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I know what that's. I mean, we went through that with my mom last
It
fall.
was 24 hours a day and just living on
Yeah.
caffeine for 2 months. So I'm just trying to screw my head back on and start at the very, very beginning. So I've done nothing.
Well, we're glad to have you back, and I mean, I know what that's like. I mean, it took me months to kind of feel normal again.
Thank God for
And
hospice. That's all I can say. They're
oh,
amazing.
I mean, those people are like saints, aren't they?
They
And
truly are.
yeah, they truly, truly, like, I every hospice person we had was fantastic.
Yeah, they're
And
blessed.
they are. And I think you have to have a specific personality to be able to do that job.
I agree. I used to own a small personal care home for the elderly for 15 years, and that
Mhm.
is emotionally debilitating, certainly in mass. But boy, hospice is just, it takes it to such another level.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're there because you know what's coming, And
Yeah.
but we had my father-in-law pass away in March, and we had hospice with him as well, and they were just great. I mean, they were just great. And and they're supportive of the family too. And
Incredible.
yeah, they really are. But so okay, so we'll play with, like I said, this will take us as long as it takes us to get these skills in, and then we're moving on to the blending skills. Like this is a minor blending skill. We're getting, we're going to go into the blending skills so that, we can make we're going to make a little puppy dog, and we're going to get his fur done. And, so that's kind of where everything's heading. And, but anyway, Janet, were you in the last one? I said I'd give you an update, or you couldn't hear,
Yes.
could you? Okay. Um, I will keep you guys posted as to when I start, but Generations has asked me to come back and work with them. And so, we're kind of outlining what all is going to be done. And, but, it's been like 10 years since I worked with them and developed this program. So I'm kind of excited about going back in and getting to play with the development side again.
Okay.
So my business will continue. They're actually going to become my distributor. So everything's going to remain the same. Like the schedule's going to remain the same. The webinars are going to remain the same. And, so, but I'll keep you posted when I officially start. I think it's like in a week.
I will tell
So,
you, I think the toughest thing with Generations was the fact that there was never any training, and you had some really good individual lessons and things on, but I've had this
mhm.
forever. I don't know how to do any, and it's nobody's fault but my own. Don't misunderstand me. But the fact is, certainly at the stores, they didn't seem to know very much. And to me, I think it's really a complicated program. I know you don't think so, but boy, I think it is.
Yeah, see, I had an advantage though. I helped design most of it. So,
There's no
I kind of
little,
know it inside and out. But when we first started, we actually were all over the place teaching.
uh-huh.
But I left, it's got to be about 10 years ago now.
Mhm.
And, kind of went off on my own. And, and they, so that they, I thought they were going to pull in somebody else to do the support side, but they never really did. So
Well,
we'll
you
be
think
back out at like some of the stores, and we'll be back out at, some of the events.
Are you thinking you may continue this or generations may continue this? I love this webinar thing, and that please disregard the fact I wasn't here for a bulk of it because my reason was obviously much more essential. But the
Right.
bottom line is something like this is what I need to keep me on track. I think it's fantastic. I would stay with you forever doing this.
Yeah, we're gonna do. We're gonna set up a whole support program, and so that way, because there's like thousands of boxes of software out there, and so that way there's ongoing support for everybody. And so and that'll be part of it'll be like the webinars, part of it'll be some online lessons, that type of thing, and then we'll also start like a teaching schedule probably next year, going around to different dealers.
Well, I
And,
must say I'm a big supporter of the webinar. I think it's excellent. Once you get down to a format that you find really, you can get all the glitches out, I think this is tremendous, really tremendous.
Yeah, the WebEx, I'm like so frustrated with them because we had really good service with WebEx, and we've just had really awful service in the last month with them. And so I'm really frustrated with them. Like, and like everybody said, we'll go to GoToMeeting. Well, we used GoToMeeting and we had really awful results, And let me get over here.
Beginning, there was a problem, and then I was here for a couple, and they were really good, and you could see the thing on the whole screen. It was really excellent. That might have been the WebEx.
Yeah, that's WebEx.